Hello, friends, and welcome to the new episode of r/Tales from Retail. And today we have another set of crazy stories for you. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And let's get started. Are you happy? Quit gang stalking me. So there's a shoplifter that always comes into my store. The last time we tried to kick her out, the police took 2 hours to arrive, and she spent the entire 2 hours flipping out and screaming at us. She's disgusting. Has sores all over her body, meth mouth, hacked off blonde hair, the whole 9 yards. She's stolen a ton of stuff from us. We have proof, a trespass order, and though we've tried to be extremely nice to her in the past, she just couldn't stop getting her fix. She came in today, and this was the first time I'd been on the clock for her post-tantrum shenanigans. The other managers are somewhat cowardly when it comes to suspicious persons. I, on the other hand, take delight in pissing them off. Now, I deal with a lot of meth heads, and I happen to know the best way to piss off a meth head is to make them paranoid. So she comes in with her boy toy, looking especially methy since the last time I saw her. I say, "Hey, nice to see you again. I'll be right around here if you need any help." And I give her the trademark stare. You know the one that every mid-level, underpaid, overworked manager gives that chills you straight to the bone, as though Satan himself just shook your hand. She nods and keeps looking through the overpriced apparel. You know, the ones that have the curvy check mark on them. You know, the ones that everyone comes in and rips the sensors off of? But I digress. I stand right behind her, 5 feet away, and I stare. She starts wigging out a little, puts a bunch of thin, easy-to-fold and stuff-in-your-pants clothing in her arms, then walks over to a different department. I follow behind the whole time, just staring, not saying a word. She starts whispering to her boy toy. "Look at this B-word. We're being gang-stalked right now. This is gang-stalking. I'm being gang-stalked." She picked up another piece of clothing. High price. Censored. I just follow, don't say a word, just stare. She moves to every department in the store, every single one. The whole time I just follow behind her, staring. I can tell she's at least sober this time because she's speaking in coherent sentences. She's telling her boy toy that I'm a B-word, that I'm a whore, etc., etc., etc. Nothing I haven't heard before, lady. So she walks by me and says, "This is harassment. You're harassing me. I could call the police on you. What you're doing is wrong." I just smile and said it's my store. Turns out I can stand wherever I want and keep staring. Finally, she gets fed up, slams her armful of merchandise on our front counter, stomps over to her bike, tells her boy toy, "We are leaving. I'm so sick of being treated like this. Look at her. Look at her smug face. She's still watching. Look, lady, I'm not stealing anything. Are you happy? Quit gang stalking me." And she left. Manager with nothing better to do, 1. Meth head, 0. The only thing to do with dodgy customers is to serve the hell out of them. And our second story. I will use the checkout that isn't working, and you can't stop me. I work in the UK, and at one point I was working for a well-known supermarket store. This happened in October 2016. It was my first retail job, and I was pregnant at the time. The clocks had gone back, and of course the majority of our card readers had gone down. I was lucky and was sat at a register where the card reader took sympathy and actually worked. This left me with a massive queue and a lot of disgruntled customers. Most customers seemed happy when I apologized for the wait and explained the circumstances. They wished me luck for the rest of the day. Another colleague came over to take me off for my lunch break, so I waddled away with my bump and sat with a drink in the cafe. Another colleague came to me and told me how the system needed to be reset, which would leave customers waiting 10 minutes or so while the system rebooted. I sighed, knowing my lunch break would be ending in about 10 minutes, so I prepared myself for the angry customers. So I got back to my till, and the colleague who took me off was halfway through serving a customer who'd bought half the shop, so I stood beside her and made conversation with customers. The colleague behind me called me over and told me he had run out of till roll and the machine wouldn't print off receipts. I asked my supervisor if we had any in the stockroom, and she said no. She would have to go to the back offices, but told me to get my colleagues to close the till as we can't operate the till without till roll. I approached the line of very angry customers and explained the till needed to be shut due to the till roll being empty. I also told them I was opening the till behind and they could gladly come to my till. Most customers nodded and grumbled but began to queue at the till I was opening. Apart from one man, my colleague was at the till waiting for the till roll. He'd shut the barrier and turned off his till. I'll be M and the angry man will be AM. AM. Nope, I want this till to serve me. I've waited in line for ages. M. I'm very sorry, sir, but the till's closed and cannot operate. You'll not lose your place in line. I will serve you at the same time my colleague would have. AM. I will be served here. M. Well, no you won't, sir. The till is closed now. AM. Well, I want to speak to your manager. This is ridiculous. M. Sir, I would also love to speak to my manager, but it seems they've left the shop floor to deal with the technical issues and complaints we will be receiving. By now, the man was slamming his items onto the conveyor belt that was still. A security guard placed themselves at the end of my till, and the man approached my till, pushing past customers, and he leaned over my till. AM. Get on this till and serve me. M. I can't do that, sir. I already explained I can serve you at my till. My colleague's waiting for his till to be operational again. AM. This is a effing joke. I want to be served now. You stupid bee. You know that? You're a stupid bee. Just effing serve me. I'd had enough. I was fat and hormonal and didn't know whether I would cry or shout, so I looked at the security guard who approached us with haste. M. Sir, as I've explained multiple times, I would have served you had you put your items on my till. Instead, you screamed and shouted at me. Now nobody will serve you. You can leave on your own or my colleague here will escort you out. The man laughed until he realized we were serious. He grabbed the basket he had his items in and threw it at me. I ducked behind the till and then rose to see the security guard had grabbed him. AM. She shouldn't have provoked me. It's her fault. M. I never provoked you. There was no need to be rude. Instead of probably being on your way home by now, you're now going to be barred from this store. Well done. Security went off with him, and my colleague turned to me and asked if I was okay. I was shaking as I hated confrontation, but I snapped. I nodded and apologized to the customers in my queue, who were all lovely to me. One man in my queue used to work at the store I was at and said how well I handled it and how he probably would have thrown the basket back at the man's head. I later found out from my manager that the man had in fact been banned from the store and the other local store in our chain because of the incident. It was fun to see him try and enter our store only to be told to leave by security. I couldn't help but smile from my checkout as he was forced to leave. You handled that really well, especially if you were, as you put it, fat and hormonal. That'd really mess with anyone's attitude, and you still remained more calm than I ever could on a good day. And our third story. You better watch your effing mouth. Just a short one from my days working in retail. For context, I was a teenager, really skinny, no worldly experience, and tried to see the good in everyone. Retail cured me of that in the first 2 months. The story goes, I was working the register for a large toy chain that's pretty global, but this was one of the smaller stores and never had much staff. As I said, I was a teenager and not used to confrontation. I had a long line of customers, and because we were understaffed, I was the only one able to serve. So there I am, trying to get through everyone as quickly and as efficiently as possible, going through the whole script with each person. Have you found everything you need today? Do you have our loyalty card? Would you like a bag? All that good stuff. The customers are generally polite, understanding that I was just doing my job, and moved along without too much trouble until Mr. No-Neck and his awful family. I saw them coming from down the line, and I knew that this wasn't going to be the most charismatic of gentlemen, but I tried to reserve judgment. I shall be me and Mr. No-Neck, so named because of his terrifyingly over-muscled body that gave him the appearance of going from shaved boiled egg type head to sunbed tan shoulders seamlessly, will be an N. Me. Hi there, did you find everything you needed today? An N. To his child. F's sake, put your effing things up there. Me. Would you like a bag today? An N. Yes, what else am I going to do? Carry it? So I scan his items through and bag them up, all the while watching this kid pull out the sweet display opposite my till. He's picking stuff up and dropping it on the floor like it's some kind of game. Then I see him shove a load of lollipops into his pockets, grinning to himself like the little demon he was. At this point, I really don't want to say anything, but I go ahead and say, "There we are, sir. Your total is XXX. Would you mind paying for the sweets your little one just put in his pockets?" And Ed, "You effing what?" Me, heart pounding already because this is a big guy. I'm all alone on this side of the store and I'm really not used to confrontation. He just put some sweets in his pocket. You need to pay. And then, "Are you effing calling me a thief? Is that what you're effing saying? You need to watch your effing mouth." Me, and then threw a 20 at me. His total was less than that, but not by much. "Did you even see him do anything? You just want me to effing search him, you nasty little bee?" So he grabbed his bag and his kid and kept giving me abuse as he walked out the door. I stood there, I'm embarrassed to say, shaking in my little boots and nearly bursting into tears. I wish, having gone through several years of retail, that I'd stood up to him, as I'm sure I would have done even a year down the line, but yeah, hindsight's 20/20. You know, if I were in your shoes, I would have backed off, then gotten the video of the dude later and got my manager to ban the whole family from the store. Thank you for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one soon.